welcome to the third episode of the CraftCast podcast. I am joined by Josh and ShvrkBait.
Hello.
Hello!
And today we're going to be talking to you guys about the Minecraft structures.
So what do we think, lads? What do we think? Do you feel like it's outdated or needs some touching up? What do we think?
I think the most outdated one has got to be the Jungle Temple.
100%.
It's been in the game for so long, but it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. You know, we've got jungles which are huge and sprawling with trees and bushes and everything, and then you've got this tiny little temple. You know, it doesn't inspire like temple in the name, if that makes sense, you know?
The actual in-game name for the Jungle Temple is actually Jungle Pyramid.
Yeah, very true.
And it don't look like no pyramid to me. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know it came out in 0.13, which
Really?
was 2012. So there's nothing has been done since 2012, basically.
I think also the loot tables aren't very good
No.
in the Jungle Temple. It kind of doesn't encourage exploration in the jungles themselves.
It's so rare, and the loot is so terrible.
I think, far as I'm aware, the thing that came out at the time was the string wire. So that's what it was trying to. As far as I'm aware, that's what it's meant to show off. And also, you got that little what's it called? Puzzle. But like, you could just mine through it. So I wish there was a bit more with the jungle, because there isn't that much to do with it. Like, I always thought the jungles could have like tree houses maybe with the villagers and stuff.
Oh, that would
Because that would be really awesome. Like, you like look up and you're like, wow, but like the Oompa Loompas or something.
It would be beautiful.
Actually, I think another point then, you mentioned the pyramid, Sam.
Yes.
And I think the pyramid and the Jungle Temple both have one thing I don't like about them, and that's the fact that you think about all of these really old monuments in Minecraft, like the Stronghold, you think about the ocean ruins, everything. They're all ruins, right? They've all got blocks missing, there's a bit of variation, they're different. But the Jungle Temple and the Jungle Pyramid, every time you find them, they are in perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with them.
We got a bit of moss,
and
that's about it though.
A little bit of moss.
A bit of moss. But it's like there's no blocks missing, and I think that variation is needed, you know. Like,
Agreed.
talk about making them both bigger, but we also need to make them look like ruins. When the player stumbles across them, it should be like they've been there for thousands of years or something. It's not like, oh, it was built yesterday by Steve, look at him over there, and then he just thought, all right, I'm done with this build, and just disappears, you know. Like,
that's a very good point. Do you know one thing else that I have to say about the desert temple? I've heard a lot of people say that you can fit a beacon perfectly inside of the top of a desert temple. Do you think that was you know, they were meant to do that?
Well, I did actually make a video on it. that video actually banged. But
let's go.
What's it called? I thought that was like a good little aesthetic to it, because then you can kind of see it from far away. Like, obviously, 99% of people don't actually do it. Like, let's just be real. But it's kind of a cool little feature. If it's intentional, unintentional, you know, is what, isn't it? But I think it's cool.
I think it's cool. Don't necessarily think it's intentional, but I do think it's cool.
The thing is, people go to the desert pyramids, but they don't go there to make a base there, so they wouldn't ever put the beacon there.
No.
And then it's like they only go there for a little bit of loot and then they disappear. And I think what we need to do is like make some of these biomes a little bit bigger, and especially make the desert pyramid bigger, because then it's like the ocean monument, it's huge, and people will go there and mine out all of the water and change it to put a base there, and they look awesome.
Yeah, they do.
And then the desert pyramids, they're just a bit like, we need bigger, more ruin-like pyramids, I think. And then maybe like if they had enough space on the top for maybe like a 6x2 beacon, I mean a 3x2 beacon, like a big beacon.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
And then have like a giant area, maybe a little bit better loot, maybe like instead of like just a straight down, maybe like kind of like in the pyramids and the tombs in Egypt, or you got to actually like go round and explore like a random maze.
I was gonna say, or you could have it like Indiana Jones, where the bricks in the walls, you have to run around down the circular, I don't know, drop, and there are blocks that like you walk from, and they all like pull back into the walls or something. That would be very cool.
You could even have like little tombs underneath. That'd be pretty cool.
Because
even if you like mine into it, it's still like, ooh, you know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool. And then you can have like these the husks maybe in there waiting for you around the corner.
There's one thing that I would say about the Jungle Temple, because or just talking about temples in general, I think that if they were to change them, it would be great to have some variant, like blocks that you can't really obtain anywhere else.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I loved about the jungle temple, because you couldn't really get much mossy stone anywhere else. Or mossy gold. Like, you could get it from, like, mob spawners, but that's really rare. You could get
until they put
much.
the crafting recipe,
Yeah.
I think with the temple, the pyramids are nice. I think it keeps the same size, like, you know, like for the OG players as such, but then have some bigger ones with the tombs. So the little ones keeps the TNT thing, because then it's just like a nostalgia thing, and then have the bigger ones to have the big tombs and stuff. And you know, nowadays they've got the what's it called? The portals where they're like different sizes, different generations. And I guess that could work with any of them now. So the mine shafts look so much better, especially in like the experimental snapshot where you've got like
the chains hanging down.
Yeah, the logs going up, and it looks more of a
underneath.
mine shaft, because before they were either too common or they didn't really feel like mine shafty as such. You know what I mean? So
especially as most of them couldn't be accessed from the ground, and it's like, well, how did they get into the mine in the first place?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. It didn't make any sense. It'd been kind of cool, maybe like a little like
above ground little.
But you know, it's you know, I feel like that's what's nice, is that they are thinking about and changing the other things. But yeah, the jungle temple, I always feel, is always behind slacking. Like they've just kind of just left it alone.
I think there's another point then to make with both the Woodland Mansion and the Pillager Outposts, and that's the fact that they have very, very, very little variation between them. You have these giant mansions, which they have a few different like rooms and whatnot in them. And they change a bit, but like the outside of them, everything, they look really, really identical. But the Pillager Outpost as well, the Pillager Outpost looks the same no matter where it is, and the only bit of variation is like a few little bits around the outside that sometimes generate.
Yeah.
But like, why can't we have like different outposts? Like,
so the Woodland Mansion was released in the exploration update, which was 2016. So that's what 5 years now, maybe.
Wow.
And also, it hasn't actually had an update since. So that's another one of those really outdated ones. And there's not, I don't know, apart from the Vindicators, there's not really, and the other main, like mini bosses stuff, there's not really that much there to do. It's like one of them, like, oh, you've completed the game, now let's go there.
It's not something that you search for. It's not like the Ocean Monument where you're like, I must find the Ocean Monument because I want to get Prismarine.
And sponges and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. I'm going to go and find Woodland Mansion.
Which is
not really anything.
No, and that's just like once you complete the whole game, isn't it? You go,
exactly.
all right, let's do the Woodland Mansion just to finish it off. And then you
like,
quit.
You know what I feel like doing? Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what I feel like doing? I feel like traveling 20,000 blocks to find this mansion.
By the way, lads, we're not sitting here complaining about how bad the game is and stuff. We're just saying what could improve from our point of view. Like, we're not, you know what I mean? We're not going, I hate this, I hate that. We're just going, we like it, but you could do so much better.
I mean, you know what? Talking of so much better, talking of something we haven't even seen yet, what do you guys think of the deep dark biome with the new sort of like wardens? In the trailer, they went into that little, I don't know, it was sort of looked a bit like a mine shaft. But there were loads of barrels and chests and stuff in there. What do you guys think of that? What do you think that what they could do with that, and where they could go with that?
I think one of the most interesting parts about that biome is what was shown off in the trailer, which was that dynamic lighting effect, right? So like the warden had this breathing thing going on, and I think, like, I am really hoping that they are finally going to add dynamic lighting to the game when that update comes out, so we can finally not need Optifine to see like torches in our hand and all this stuff. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah,
they got the spy glass for the zoom. Now they just
finally Minecraft are going to outdate Optifine. But back to the biome, I think it's very interesting. But I think, like, the reason you want to go down there mainly, I think, is to get the skulker, I think I'm saying it right, blocks for the redstoners out there, for that wireless redstone. I think that's the key thing that draws it. And this is kind of what we were talking about already. Like, they need to add things that make people want to seek out these biomes, these areas. So that's perfect that they're going to have something exclusive to that area. But I think what else is going to be in that loot table? Are we going to maybe have a few more god apples? Are we going to have what's going on? Because what's the warden's backstory? What does it collect? What does it do?
It's on level with the Elder Guardian, so it's like a mini boss as such. And also, from what I could find, obviously the skulk blocks are like the big, that's why you go there. Apparently, according to this, it might have a new structure called the Warden's Cabin, which is meant to be like.
That's what I was talking about.
Go on then, mate, if you know what's about.
No clue.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's what.
So it has like as far as aware, according to like some of the photos of it, I don't think it looks that great. It's just like a log kind of little cabin with like a blast furnace and that. So it looks kind of cool, and then it shows off the candles as well, because it's not really that much to do with the candles at the moment, apart from being on a birthday cake. But as far as I think the glowing heart of the Warden is like its weakest point. So for
okay, I see.
Which is good because not a lot of there's no mobs. Like if you hit a mob with a headshot, maybe does it do more damage? I'm unsure about that.
I don't think so.
No, so that'd be quite cool.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, to have a mob which sort of has like varying levels of damage potential across it. We haven't really seen that before.
I think one of the places that needs a serious overhaul for structures is the end, because all there is occasionally end cities, and I feel that there's more. Like you go to the end, then you travel there, you get your elytra, you maybe fly around, get a few more elytras,
and also
and then you come home and there's no reason. But like
as well.
And the chorus fruit, but. Like, the end is actually the only other dimension of the overworld that you could seriously actually live in, right? Because it's always daytime, so crops grow faster, you can put down water, and it's kind of a lot more habitable, if that makes sense, than the overworld. Yeah. But, like, we need another, more of a reason to stay there long term, because I think it would be so cool actually living in the end instead.
Because it's the same thing with the Nether, isn't it? The Nether, realistically, you would go there specifically just to go to the fortress, and then you'd leave.
Yeah.
So maybe they do need like a big end update, which I feel like will come soon, very soon, because I feel like they're trying to brush the game up.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I was going to say, the last one was the Nether. This one's effectively the overworld. So it makes sense that the next one might be the end.
Yeah. You'd think. Maybe the one after. I reckon, I feel like after Caves and Cliffs Part 2, they're going to chill for a couple of updates and just have a lot more, like, just mellow updates, things that are going to be a lot more subtle, because Caves and Cliffs is going to be such a huge overhaul.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's going to bring so many old players back. But I definitely think that like an end update is on the horizon. I mean, you guys, have you seen the, I don't know what it's called, but it's called End Plus or something?
Okay.
Mod that overhauls. It's a mod that overhauls End Generation, and it adds like
End biomes, isn't it?
Yeah, and biomes and new structures.
Oh wow! No, I'm looking at it now. Is that one with the mushrooms in it?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's right there on the screen. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's right there. You guys can all see it. But yeah, that's the sort of thing I can imagine I'm going for. Even though that one, I still don't even think that that's enough.
No.
Because it's really cool. There's loads of new biomes, and there's a couple of new mobs like slimes, like end slimes and whatnot. I still think that they can go a little bit further above and beyond. Imagine going into the end and seeing a cluster of those little tiny islands with little houses on them with rope bridges across them. How cool!
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And it kind of gives it a bit more like backstory of the Enderman, especially.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not the Enderman, I think, is the backstory, because the Minecraft lore, if you think about it, right? You've got a character. I mean, well, okay, so in Minecraft in the past, right, there has been a civilization that has done stuff like build a pyramid, maybe, and also make a stronghold, travel to the end, and also travel to the Nether. You know, we've got hints for that in the Nether with whatever was going on with the Nether fortresses. Like, who built the Nether fortresses? We have no idea, right? And obviously the bastions are a bit different, we know that. But then also, if you look at the end cities, right, who inhabited those? Or you look at the front of the boats in them, right, and they've got the dragon's heads on them, so it's clearly some kind of race of people.
You can say that about the shulkers, couldn't you? The shulkers could maybe be what it might have morphed into. You never know.
But you look at the kind of the layout of it, and it's designed for a player. Like all of these are designed for someone the size of a player.
true.
So it's not an Enderman because some of the bits are too short for them to be in. And then so I reckon like the
Very
Minecraft lore is that there was a race of people similar to us that existed before us that were in the world. They travelled all through. They got to the end, and then they started hunting down Ender dragons, right, and killing them and putting them on their boats and travelling. And maybe afterwards the Shulkers came over and started taking them out, and possibly the Endermen had something to do with it. Maybe they became the Endermen.
Yeah,
because the Endermen are the only mob that's in all three dimensions.
But yeah, I think that sort of thing in the end would be super interesting. Just have little huts. Maybe because we've only got 2 high doors at the moment. Maybe we actually bring like a 3-block door.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Because then you could really show off.
House. And I mean, if it was like if you had a big house, then that would be perfect. And if it, like, I don't know, there's other than shulker boxes, you don't really have any dyeable things from the end. But if it was like a door that you could dye, that would be pretty cool. Just so you could fit loads of different builds.
Maybe going back to the overworld then, what do you guys think about things like the shipwrecks?
When they first came in, I'm still excited for them. I think they're really, really cool. But it doesn't make... The only thing that doesn't really work is the fact that we have little boats, but then massive ships.
Yeah.
It doesn't... You know what I mean? You build a little boat, don't you? Like for your 2 players.
Why can't we build the big one?
Yeah, it's a little bit... Like there was, I think it was...
You could, like, hold 6 people or something.
There was like the Sales mod, I can't remember what it's called. There was a mod that does it. Obviously, it did lag out everything. But it doesn't make any sense how the boats are huge, the shipwrecks are huge, but then...
We've got little ones.
Yeah, but when they introduced them, I thought they were awesome. And I still like them because, again, you have to go there because that's the only...
Only way to get buried treasure, isn't it?
Yeah, and then that's obviously where you can then get your Heart of the Sea. That's what I like about it, because then it's like it's a two-way thing, isn't it?
I think on that sort of thing, it's the same way that you have lots of different ruin portals and lots of different like shipwrecks.
Yeah.
I think and how you were just saying there, ShvrkBait, about how, you know, it would be cool if there were different pillager outposts. I think it would just be great if, you know, instead of just having one desert temple or one jungle temple or something, they had lots of little different designs, like with the ruin portal. That, you know, it could say, like, the game generates, like, the way that worlds generate, it says, like, oh, well, there's a ruin portal here, and then just randomizes which one it is.
Well, I imagine if you walked up and there was like 4 pillager posters or outposts all together. It was like a few of them clumped together, so it was like a guarded gate or something. I don't know. So because that would be cool. Also, because obviously you get your little, you know, villages, but if you've got like an outpost and like maybe 4, like a bit like a, not like a castle, but like a mini castle maybe. So there's like an in between of the massive Woodland Mansion and also the outpost, because the outpost it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think an outpost, there needs to be a reason for having an outpost, right? Maybe you're at war or something. So I reckon outposts should be moved to generate nearer to villages, because then it makes sense for there to be an outpost there.
Like,
but then also
blocks.
A couple of 100 blocks or something, because then it makes sense, because they raid villages, so their outpost for the raid should be near a village.
Yeah, there's no point having like 4,000 blocks away and then going,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
We will raid them in 5 days' time. It doesn't make any sense. But also, I think, like villages, you can very rarely find a village that's an abandoned one with
very true.
All of these cobweb stuff. And I think, well, the outpost should be a temporary thing, right? Because it's an outpost. It's not a
so maybe some outposts that are, you know, a bit like the abandoned. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that
so
would
abandoned
be really
outposts. Cool. So you have there's a few blocks missing. There's some cobwebs places. You can tell that this was an outpost, and maybe they could spawn near the abandoned villages. So maybe that you can then have a bit of lore there that the village has been wiped out by the by the pillagers, and now they've abandoned it.
And then you could introduce the zombie pillager, as well as the zombie, and maybe they have bows or something, crossbows.
Obviously, going into the igloo, then again, the whole thing with the igloo was a bit like the jungle temple. It was used for that update, but now is a little bit like...
Yeah, it's a bit, you know...
You don't really need it, because you don't really... Yeah, it's just to show that off. And
well,
I think they're
free golden apple and a free weakness potion, but other than that, it's not really.
Well, I think they're quite interesting myself, because if you then think about the lore, right? So you clearly whatever was there before was very similar to us in the sense that it understood how to brew potions. It has a redstone torch there, so it understands that redstone is a thing, right? But then also it has a small plant pot with a cactus in it, right? So whoever that was also some kind of traveller as well.
Someone who enjoyed agriculture.
Exactly, like someone, and it's like, so it's quite an interesting idea that someone who has travelled to a desert.
But the downstairs, though, why would you keep? You know what I mean? I'm not sure.
Why would you experiment on them downstairs?
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. It's really kind of.
Who did it?
Yeah, I'd say probably a witch.
That's the thing,
that sounds quite a good idea. But that's what I mean. I just feel like the bottom bit is for that time. We can even check when was the last update for it. Let's have a look, because there's not really that much.
Because also they only sometimes spawn with that bottom bit. I think it's like a 50% chance that you'll find it. So it's a bit less kind of common, if that makes sense.
So it was introduced in 2015, and it hasn't actually had an update since 1.13, which was the Aquatic update. And all that was changed is the name of it. So it hasn't really had that much change to it as such.
So what would you change? What would you change?
It's one of the things, isn't it? Maybe have like a bed in there, or
there is.
I just don't know what.
Upstairs.
That's what I mean. It's one of the things where it's like,
it's so rare you don't. You know, it's so rare that you don't really know what's in there. No.
Maybe then that to give a reason to go there. Yeah. Maybe if you go there, and you maybe I don't know that because obviously a thing that you've obviously seen, Sam, is that if you understand how to do the whole villager curing thing, you can get god tier items and everything. I reckon then maybe to balance that out would be you have to find one of these structures to get the crafting recipe, maybe to do those things, because otherwise it's like, well, there's no reason to go there. Like, they're very interesting, cool structures, I personally think, but there's no reason to go there and cure those particular villages, because you can just get the items at home and do it yourself. So
maybe you get like a certain thing that you can't get in other villages if you cure it, so maybe it gives you a reason to find it. Because not gonna lie, it's the same with like the Woodland Mansions. I'd probably find it after a Woodland Mansion, or you come across it without even realising, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's the same with like the Strongholds. I think there could still be something added to it. Like, it's very mazy and there's like a lot to do on it.
Yeah.
But
I think, I agree with you. I think Strongholds, to be fair, probably could do, like, you probably could put a maze in there, to be fair. I think with Strongholds, it's, and a lot of the different structures, they're very basic. And they don't, and a lot of them were made so long ago that they don't have this sort of like excessive, like block palette or design style. So they're very, blocky, basic. I think the least basic part of a stronghold is probably the library.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any other.
Well, the library's good to get enchantment books, but then not enchantments, but get yourself a bookshelf. But by then, you're not really.
By the time you've made it there, you've already got yourself
and I still
probably
think the library's
a
pretty
giant
cool.
cow farm.
Yeah. I just wish that maybe
and sugarcane.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these structures. I think like all of Minecraft structures are great, apart from maybe the jungle pyramid.
Yeah.
I think they're all great. Just maybe one or two of them they could do with like a little bit more. Of a
or like
design
maybe
thing.
like maybe like each update they can go, okay, we're gonna focus on this thing, so it's like a mini thing.
Just up the design a little bit.
I reckon they should move the strongholds down into that kind of deeper area.
Oh yeah,
because
fair enough.
Oh, okay.
I was speed running. I did a speed running stream on 1.17. Like an early snapshot. Sorry, 1.18. It was 1.17 at the time when I did the speed run, and I couldn't find the stronghold because I forgot that you had to go further down. It was.
Oh,
I think
no.
The stronghold actually started at like Y4.
Wow.
And One thing I do think would be really cool though is if the stronghold does extend into the deeper area. I think is it called the deep depths?
Deep slate. I think deep slate it should be made from.
Yeah, I think so. They should make it out of polished deep slate or deep slate brick or whatever it's called.
Because I think at the time that was the only place you could get stone bricks like naturally.
You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. It's been a long time since then, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
And there's one last structure that we haven't talked about, but it's probably one of the oldest in the game.
Yeah.
And that. What do you mean, really?
Huh? No, I said, okay. Sorry, Josh. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Josh.
Excuse me,
sorry,
Mr. Sharpbait.
Sorry.
How dare this man? Come on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The mob spawners, one of the oldest naturally spawning structures in the game. Like they have been there. I think is it from like the first version of the release.
Really?
They've been in the game. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I know. Sharky Boy can fact check me.
Yeah, give me some. The thing is, it's always kind of been there. It's either beta 1.4 or it's 1.3.1 release.
Wow.
But they haven't really changed since then. They've been in the game for over like 10 years, right? At this point, almost. And it's like so.
A long time.
So like, I think there needs to be a bit of an update there because there used to be like. You go there to maybe get the mossy cobblestone, and obviously it's one of the best places to find god apples, as you know, Sam.
Yes.
But like, I think maybe larger rooms might be.
Yeah, because it's not a dungeon, is it?
Yeah,
no, it's not.
I've seen it.
It's just
not a dungeon.
A hidden room with a spawner. Like we need like maybe like an entrance that you go into, similar to like maybe the strongholds. Maybe they should be further down because some of them spawn, you know, like 20 blocks or less under the surface, really close. I think we need like more of a kind of you go through it and then you get to the final part, kind of like that space mod.
Very true.
Where you have like dungeons on there where there's also like a bit of a boss there and stuff.
So the dungeons were originally for like saddles, weren't they? Or you would go to a mine shaft. That was kind of the reason for it, but the only thing that I could find that was last changed was in 1.17. It appears they are again capable of generating in open areas such as cliff sides. But that's literally it. Nothing's really been changed.
One thing we haven't talked about today, I think maybe this would be a good question to maybe finish on. Yeah. What biome would you maybe add a structure to, and what would it be?
I feel like having some like jungle villages. Just like you look up and you're like, because obviously the, I feel like now that the height generation is higher, you know, imagine having these jungle trees that are just huge. You know what I mean? Maybe have like a, you know, a bit like, is it, what's that film? Avatar? Like you can maybe have like a tree that you live inside. They might have that.
That would be awesome.
Or you look up and there's like these massive like tree houses with the villagers in. You know, they give the same loot, but it's still pretty cool because the villagers there's no villagers technically. Like they've got the skins for, but they don't actually have them in the swamp and the jungle. So at least gives them something, you know, to be useful for.
I would love to add, because they're adding the new mountains and the new biomes. I think it would be really cool to have some kind of structure towards the top of a mountain. You know, like you have in some places you have these monk temples built really high up. I think it would give you a reason to travel up to the top of these mountains, and it would almost be like maybe like almost like a spiritual thing.
Yeah, because there's literally no point going. Like, the thing is, there is a kind of a point, but there's not really any point of going to these mountains. Like they've given,
and it encouraged us to use that world height now.
Maybe that would be where the Illusioner spawns.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be really cool.
Because I feel like that's been a throwaway mob. Like, it's still in the game, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Also with the village as well.
I could do /summon Illager.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe that could be good for maybe like the top. If they would like a skin rechange, because I feel like the Illusioner hasn't got the best skin.
No, it does. It's an unfinished mob. It would be cool to see, but
that'd be quite cool. Yeah, especially the top of the mountain. I think that's like a really awesome idea.
What about you, Sam? What would you add?
You know, see, I'm. This might be a little bit controversial because this biome already has plenty of structures, but I think some more desert ruins would be awesome if there was, because I just keep thinking about all of these ancient sort of desert civilizations that there were. I think it would be really, really awesome to actually have some sort of ruins which are big, not little ruins. Some ruins you could walk in, and it was sort of like an abandoned city or something.
Something you could see from the distance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're you just want to explore it. Sort of like Pompeii.
Yeah, true. And then he gives a bit more lore to it, because
exactly.
Because you've got the
like amphitheaters as well.
Because obviously you've got the little. Have you seen the little structure that is in the desert where it's like a water?
The well.
Yeah, it's. I've never been
meh.
a lover of it.
No, that's what I do. Some ruins, some big, not just like, oh yeah, there's like 3 broken houses, like big ruins. Like you can't tell what they were, but you know that something was there, and I think that would be really interesting.
Well, I think let's hand this off to the viewers then.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 of ours, which would you prefer?
Would you choose?
But if you don't want either of them, what would you have instead?
Yeah.
What would you put in?
Yeah, because I mean, the mushroom biome doesn't have any
Yeah.
structures
True.
or anything.
The only thing good
There's
there
a
is
lot
obviously the mushrooms.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the CraftCast podcast. Don't forget to subscribe with post notifications on, so you know whenever we're going to be releasing.
Every Sunday, lads. Every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Well, thank you guys so much. And
Thank
post your
you.
opinions down in the comment section, and we'll see you in the next one.
Later, lads.
Bye,
for
everyone.
now.
Bye.
What do you think came before the player joined?
Oh, well, like, see, that it's a big question, because, like, I think it's often boiled down to, like, oh, who was the civilization before Steve?
You know, who actually uses the chest of the donkey? Like, let's just be real.
Why would Endermen need jail cells for one? Because they can just teleport out with them.